What are these patches, this age reversal technology, this photo light therapy? Yeah, so if you want to stop reducing your age, you just take the patch off. You wear them 12 hours a day. First thing you're going to see is a whole lot of energy. Your skin clears up. After a couple of months, you start to see physical changes. You actually start the de-aging process at the cellular level. So we're talking about the repair of your organs. We're talking about ailments that you have potentially being reversed. But we haven't talked about tragic situations, and really how the X39 has been able to help with that. Well, we have a testimonial, as we do on these X39 testimonial interviews. I have not heard any of this information previous. I want to have a real reaction with all of you that are viewing at home. And that's because I just trust how these X39 patches work. I've seen all of these positive effects in my own self. Julie, who works for the Stu Peters Network, we saw, I mean, she just has like no more crow's feet, no more wrinkles. I mean, all of these things are going away. Crystal Tini, who's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, I mean, she's who led me to all of this. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative. We have Gayla and Sammy with us now, who are joining us with the testimonial. Apparently, Sammy, you are the miracle story from the X39 patch. Gayla is your mom sitting right next to you there. I've been told nothing about what you have. Crystal Tini is the one that set all this up. This is full disclosure here. And she just sent to me, hey, got another X39 story. I think it would be good for the world to hear, for your viewing audience to take a look at. So with that, I just want to hear, what do you have going on? What happened?
Okay, so I've been with the company for 3 years, and back in 22, in December, Sammy had a car accident, and he ran into a pole, and he had to be life flighted. And when we got to the hospital, the doctors were like, well, he's got a brain bleed here, and we're going to observe him. So through that night, nothing really changed. And then the next day, they said, okay, now he's got contusions all over his lungs. He can't breathe. He's got pneumonia. He's got 3 brain bleeds here, 1 brain bleed here, and he's going to have a craniectomy and remove part of his skull.
Now, how long ago was the accident, and how long ago was this?
It was December of 22, so about a year and a half, I guess.
Okay, yep, continue.
Yeah, and so when we got there, I wanted to put the patches on him right away because, like, I've been with this company at that time about a year and a half, and I've seen miracle after miracle after miracle. But there wasn't a chance for me to do that. I started asking the nurses, can I put these patches on him? And, well, you asked the doctor. Finally, the 3rd day, so the 2nd day they did the surgery, they took part of his skull out. And, of course, you can see that it's back in. They put it back. But when they took it out, they put the skin back, but it was, there was no skull right there. And so he swelled up really big. And finally, the 3rd day, the doctor said, Mrs. Wall, I don't think you understand the severity of this. If your son makes it, you have a long, hard, bumpy road. I said, that's fine. So can I put this patch on him? He said, what is it? And I said, helps your body produce new cells. Okay. And I told him the full word there. And he said, did you say new cells? And I said, yeah. He goes, go put it on his head. And I was like, oh, thank you. So anyway, we put it on the back of his neck because that's where the owner of the company, the inventor, said to put the X39. And then he had like 7 other patches that I put on him as well. So the next day he started being able to follow the pencil. Before that, he was brain dead. There was no activity.
Wait a minute. The next day he started following the pencil? No, nothing else that Western medicine had to offer him was responsible for any of this, right? Medically, they didn't do anything for him. The only change was you put the X39 on the back of his neck combined with some other patches.
Yeah, but there was a chance she could come out of it. But it was like this. Mrs. Wall, you don't understand the severity. They did not think he was going to make it. I think that's why they let me put the patch on him to begin with. So anyway, there is a possibility that people have come back from this, okay? Right. But it gets a lot bigger than this. So he's paralyzed on his right side. Totally paralyzed. His eye was going out here. His mouth drooped and saliva would come out. His right arm, his right leg, nothing was moving. Okay. So after I thought it was 2 weeks, but as I was looking, thank God the pictures that I took are stamped on the date. And I was reading about carnosine, another patch that we have, and a brain. And what carnosine does in your own body is it regulates your cerebral fluid. Well, he has a lot of cerebral fluid because of all of this inflammation. So I put both of the patches, X39 and the carnosine here. This was, I think, the 26th. So it was 3 days after the surgery, okay, the craniectomy. And when I come in the next day into his room, 6 hours later, Sarah, the nurse, grabbed me. She said, Gayla, Sammy's moving his right side. I said, what? Because they told me he was paralyzed and there's no movement. So, and I'm like, it's fine. He's alive and that's all that matters. So she said, we didn't want to tell you, but the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. And where he's had this brain, these 3 brain bleeds, there's so much damage that we didn't think he was ever going to be able, we really don't understand why he's moving. I said, are you telling me the left side of his brain where those patches are right there is, and now his right side's moving? She goes, yeah, what are those patches? And I said, that, ma'am, is called miracle. So that's when I really could see the big picture of what this was going to do for him. And through this whole process, like everything they told us 2 years, he would still not be working. It's been a year and a half and he's over right now. We're building him a house with, thanks God to LifeWave and my income. We're building him a house. He's working on the house right now. You can see he's, show him your right hand. So he's completely not paralyzed anymore. And they said his hand would never work. His eye was going out to the right. And so we put the patches here and here. I have a girl on, that works with me that's an occupational therapist. And she said, put them right here because the ocular muscles. And the neuro eye doctor said that he was going to have to put prism glasses on, but they wanted to wait a year, but nothing was getting any better on his eye at all. And he was doing the exercises and everything. So so it's important where you put the patch. See, remember I had the patch back here, but he was still paralyzed. We moved to here where the damage was. The next day he starts moving. So we put the patch here, 5 days, perfectly teaming. As you can see, his eyes are perfectly teaming now. And there is nothing that he can't do. He is completely restored.
Sammy, how old are you?
24.
24. Okay. And so roughly you were 20, 21 years old when your mom started with this company called LifeWave. Mm-hmm. If you are anything like me, when I first heard about this stuff, I said, that's nonsense. Some patches, really? That's what's going to, really? Patches? You're going to stick them on your head and do all this weird stuff? I mean, I'm like, yeah, okay. So were you a skeptic also at first when your mom started this LifeWave journey?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much of a skeptic are you now?
No skeptic.
Yeah. There's nothing left of skepticism. I mean, so they told you, Sammy, that you were going to be paralyzed forever?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, he didn't know that. He was still pretty out of it.
Well, told your mom, right? So, and now there's nothing that you can't do. We've got pictures here. Are you engaged or are you married?
I'm engaged. I'll be married in July.
Congratulations, married in July. This is truly a miracle story. You said that you've seen a lot of these, Gayla.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to share any of those with us? We've got about 5 minutes left here. I just want to know. I mean, let's finish Sammy's story, but then I'd be interested to hear a quick rundown of some of the biggest miracles that you've heard from the X39 patch.
Yeah. So after he got out of the hospital March, went into acute rehab. That was a miracle. Every place he goes. I mean, the occupational therapist was crying because she said, Gayla, I know what you're doing is great and everything, and I'm so glad, but he's never going to be able to have the strength back in his hand. And the day that his right hand was stronger than the left hand, remember, Kathy, when she said, can I hug you? She started crying because she's like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I need to know more about these patches. So anyway, he is snow skied, water skied, jet skied down in Florida. We just got back from Florida, thanks to LifeWave. My whole family just went on a vacation, all of us, both sons and wives. And we were down there, and the second day I get a picture from my brother of my mom's car in a ditch, and another picture of him following in the ambulance. I'm like, gotta be kidding me. So she had a wreck, and she broke her back. She's 83. She fractured L4. So I called, and they wanted to do surgery. I'm like, look, I'm in Florida. She's not having surgery. She's going to try something else if this doesn't work. Because I know everybody at the hospital. I stayed with him for 60 days at the hospital. Yeah. So I talked to the doctor, and he said, okay, fine. Just she'll wear a brace. So we put 3X39. Okay. And this is what I have found. If I put one X39 on somebody, patch the problem. I tell people, patch the problem. If you got back pain, knee pain, put the patch on the problem. Okay. If you put one on and if you don't feel anything within, 12 hours, try 3. And almost every single time, maybe 1 out of 100 do not see it with 3. So anyway, I put 3 in a triangle, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here like this. Okay. Or I didn't, I had the nurse do it on her back around that vertebrae. She's not on pain pills. The other day I said, Mom, I think, cause she's back with us now. I said, I think we can just go with 1X39 now. It's been a week and a half since her fracture and she does not have any pain. She's not on any kind of medicine. So I said, we're going to try 1. And she said, I come in there. She's okay. 1 didn't work because I had to take an aspirin this morning. Like, okay. So we're putting 3 on her now and she's in 0 pain. Like, what is happening? Like 83 years old, a fractured back, and she's not even in pain and no medicine.
Man.
None.
You know, as you're saying this, I'm thinking about so many people in my personal life that are, you know, elderly, and they're kind of dealing with the natural progression of age type ailments. And I'm thinking about all of these X39 patches that I'm going to be sticking all over everybody, because I mean, truly, this is real life stuff. This is really happening. I don't really understand fully the technology behind it. We're going to get more on that, and we're going to get more in depth into that. But what I have read and what I have researched, and having the inventor on, which by the way, we're going to have him back on the program to talk more about the, you know, like the technical aspect of how this all works. But
David.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I mean, we all owe him a tremendous amount of gratitude. A lot of us owe him our lives, quite literally. I mean, or the quality thereof. Sammy, you could very well be dead right now, or paralyzed for the rest of your life. And now here you are, jet skiing and snow skiing and water skiing. I mean, like, it's incredible. And congrats again on your upcoming marriage. Okay, rundown real quick. Give me a couple other,
So we were in Florida and we saw David at the SPD event, and the top incoming Onyx. I'm sure you've met her. You need to have her on the show as well. She was taking us out to dinner, and she's got a Ferrari and was letting Sammy go for a ride in the Ferrari and stuff. But anyway, I told David the story about Sammy, and I started bawling. I was like, thank you so much, because, I mean, they did tell me, the doctor said, because and I want to tell you this too, because this is important. Can he go back to work? Is it okay? Are we done with him?
Yeah,
Can he
go
run
ahead.
back?
Go ahead. Go on back to work, Sammy. Thank you so much for being here. Congrats again.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So anyway, I was still, even though I was at the top level of the company, and I actually did that in Florida. That's another thing. It's very extreme income you can make just by helping people. It's so insane. But I'm in the hospital and I am, sitting there going, this is just so hard for me to grasp. I've seen so many things, like with my husband, he was, inflamed. He was taking Advil every day. And the minute he put the patch on in 4 hours, he's like, I haven't taken any Advil today. I don't hurt. And I just seen all these things for a year and a half. And then to see this when it's your own child and they come back and the doctor said, he may be brain dead. He may be a vegetable. He may never be able to think or talk or walk or speak. He couldn't speak for, I guess it was about 45 days. He couldn't speak. And your speech. So what I did was I got the brain in the hospital, and it shows where everything, your speech is here, your cognition, your movement. And I patched everywhere, the X39 and the carnosine and X49, because that's muscle too. And so I was patching all over, and it just started coming back to life. But I had a girl that came into the hospital, and she's like, I was telling her about Sammy, and I said, even though I saw it, it's still so hard to believe. And she said, well, I've had a stroke, but it's been 10 years ago. Do you think it would help me? I said, well, I know it can't hurt you. So why don't you try it? She goes, what about Phil Coverson? This is a friend of hers. And she said, he just had the same thing. I said, well, if they'll put these patches on them, I'll give it to him. So it was weird how it worked out. God brought somebody right into the hospital that knew that same person. And so I said, can you take these patches to them? Because the first girl okayed it, Lisa okayed it with her. And then Angie come in, and Angie took the patches to him. And I don't know them from Adam. Well, he did the same thing. He was weak, though. He wasn't paralyzed, but he was weak on his right side. He put him on the left side of his brain. The next day he got up and he was stronger. I was like, okay, now they can't tell me this is like placebo or this is just Sammy because he's young and is making stem cells, because this guy's 40. So his wife literally came over to the hospital and prayed with Sammy, and he's a pastor, and it was just amazing. So, God just totally took every doubt that I could have that it was not that patch that brought him back. But yeah, there's just, my best friend had a very serious immune system problem, and she's 72. And the doctor said, well, this type of challenge will not kill you. You're 72. You could live 30 years with this, but you're going to have to be on medication. Of course, she's natural, doesn't want to do that. She said, just let me see what I can do. And a year later, she went back to the doctor and he goes, well, that's gone. That immune system challenge that, is very serious is gone. So, and she had problems with her feet being numb. That went away. She had problems with headaches. I mean, there's just so many different things that
Unbelievable.
I can you from a year or 3 years of sharing this, and my organization is just so vast now.
Yeah. Well, and it's an incredible business, it seems, for you as well. And so you're literally out here helping millions of people and being rewarded for it. I hope you make millions and millions and millions of dollars, because you absolutely deserve it for spreading the word on this. I'm taken aback by everything that you have told me. No reason to doubt it at all whatsoever. Gayla Wall, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And as I've been telling all of you, listen, we talked to a golfer who was completely debilitated. He could not golf. He lost his whole professional golf career. He's now golfing again. And he was told that he was never going to golf. There's a 70-something-year-old guy who'd been bald for 15 years, started wearing these patches. He's got a full, thick head of hair. And this stuff is really something.